Greetings, kindred spirits, and welcome to all of those that are new to my channel. We are coming towards the end of 2018. And I had to check myself the other day because normally around this time of year, I am usually so glad to see the year's end and can't wait for the new year to begin. So when I found myself habitually thinking that, I had to stop and think to myself, am I really happy to see the end of this year? And when I reflected on all of the experiences, the emotions, the realizations and the wisdom that I have gained over this last year, I actually felt quite melancholy about leaving this year behind. As much as this year has been intense and highly emotional at times, I do truly feel thankful for all the knowledge and wisdom it has provided me with, and I've also met some truly amazing people along the way. So for the rest of this year, I am going to choose to be in a place of gratitude for what this year has taught me. You know, this year has been one of the most intense years I have experienced in my whole life, even more so than 2012. The energies that have been coming in have been constant, with not much of a break in between. So whilst reflecting on this last year, it made perfect sense to me why, through this month so far, I have been feeling quite detached and numb. And I don't think I'm the only one feeling this. I feel that this year has been so full on and overwhelming that there just hasn't been enough space to truly absorb and integrate all of the energetic changes that have been occurring at a very deep level. So I guess there is a little bit more releasing to do emotionally. And after taking a look at the astrology charts for this month, it definitely confirmed what I was feeling. So I'm going to start with the solstice. Well, it's the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere and the spring solstice in the southern hemisphere. The solstice begins on the 21st of December at 22:22 in the GMT time zone and at 17:22 in the EDT time zone. And the sun will be at 3 degrees in a Sagittarius in the true lifetime sky. The sun will be in trine to Uranus and in square to Chiron and Mars. And this energy can be very erratic and self-serving. Also, there will be a grand aspect, the T-square, with the moon in opposition to Jupiter and Mercury, and all in square to Neptune. So in all, I would say that there is a great need for moderation on this day, although Mars and Uranus is raising the energy. The moon and Neptune will be lacking direction and motivation. So self-discipline and moderation will be needed to make the most of this portal's energy. We need to rest our minds and bodies as much as we can during this time by just allowing ourselves to be in the moment. You know, space out, let your mind wander, listen to the background noises or the silence depending on where you live. And yes, I am subtly telling you to meditate. You know, this is the last portal of the year, and it's just as powerful as the previous portals and just as important. So, you know, that's what I would recommend for this solstice, which is actually tomorrow because I'm recording on the 20th. And we have our full moon on the 22nd, which takes place in the sign of Gemini, and will reach its peak at 17:50 in the GMT time zone and at 12:50 in the EDT time zone. The moon will be at 0 degrees in Gemini, and again I feel that this will add to the feeling of detachment, and where we can be too much in our heads and not enough in our hearts. Nervous energy will be high on the list, and it is so important that we allow ourselves to be still and not spread ourselves too thin. I haven't spoken about the chakras over the last few podcasts, and that is because we are all at different stages of activation, or have been over the last few months. Some have been experiencing a lot of lower chakra activations, while others have been experiencing the higher chakra activations. And these are not just the chakras in the physical body, but other chakras too, like the Earth Star, Soul Star, and the God's Head, also known as the Galactic Star. But I will say that in this month of December, as a collective, it is the heart chakra that is mostly being activated or needs to be meditated on for further self-healing. Our moon's opposition to Saturn can create a lot of depression in the collective because of the lack of emotional flexibility and optimism. It shines within our relationships, especially with our families, friends, colleagues, past lovers, and also in our relationship with ourselves. Saturn in opposition to our moon can cause limitation when it comes to expanding our mind and our heart, where our lifestyle can feel burdensome, especially since our sun and moon are in opposition and are both in square to Chiron, and Chiron is also in conjunction to Mars. Our sun and moon are always in opposition on a full moon anyway, which represents conflict between the conscious and the unconscious mind. That's why this particular moon cycle is all about what we need to release, what we need to let go of, especially when it comes to childhood wounds or childhood conditionings that hold us back from truly living to our full potential. The moon and sun in square to Chiron shows that more emotional releasing will need to occur, especially old emotions that are connected to our parents. Actually, just recently, an old wound of mine came to the surface that was triggered by a recent bereavement. It didn't actually have anything to do with the person that transitioned, but it was a trigger to a time in my life where I had suppressed an emotion from when I was around 8 years old. Strangely, after I released this pain, I was like, wow, did I really hold on to that? Considering everything else I'd been through in my life, I felt that this particular block was quite trivial. But boy, was it powerful. So that is what I feel this full moon is all about. Not that we are necessarily releasing trauma as such, but things that may seem trivial compared to other stuff we have been going through. But it's probably the core root of underestimating or undervaluing ourselves through a misunderstanding. This grand aspect is designed to help us release our pain and transmute it into a great source of understanding by rising above our pain and blessing it with unconditional love. Because when we do this, we are not just healing ourselves, we are also helping to heal the collective. Uranus is in sextile to our moon, so this aspect can help us to let go of the past, but will also enlighten us to how the little things in life can affect us at a very deep level, especially as Uranus is still in retrograde and is at 0 degrees in Aries. Sextile bringing opportunities, so because Uranus is in retrograde at 0 degrees, there will be some great opportunities for us to tap into our individuality and unique abilities if we can look beyond the restrictions that the ongoing T-square that started at the beginning of June, which has been shape-shifting from a T-square actually to a Grand Cross. The Grand Cross actually was in formation for the most of November, which makes sense since November was a powerful month with regards to numerological master days and the 1111 portal. I'm sure most of you have checked out the podcast I did with Catherine Kinney from Cosmic Numerology. If you haven't, then you can access that on my Facebook page, Star 13 Star Sign Astrology, The link to that page is in the description box below. Anyway, this particular ongoing T-square is between the nodes, which are always in opposition, but this year they have had a lot of interference from other significant planets and points. The nodes are invisible points in our charts and represents our destiny and our karma. At the moment, the Black Moon Lilith is in conjunction to the South Node, which is very significant to past life issues that have returned to be resolved. Also, this aspect between the Black Moon and the nodes tells us that being in fear is inhibiting our soul's growth. It is being in fear that blinds us from our downfalls in life. So we must raise our vibration and free ourselves from being chained to the past so that we can move forward in a more positive way. Because as the nodes and the Black Moon are in square to Uranus, the desire for freedom is so powerful that we could end up cutting our noses to spite our face if we stay in a low vibration. So it's so important that we raise our vibration. There is another T-square that takes place this full moon, involving the North Node in opposition to Pluto and both in square to the goddess of wisdom and justice, Pallas. The North Node in opposition to Pluto warns us about initiating things at the wrong time, and therefore causing some resentment or misunderstandings. In turn, this can knock our self-esteem or confidence, when in actual fact it is not down to our lack of talent, but due to circumstances that are beyond our control. We must hold on to our self-confidence and not allow ourselves to be overwhelmed by the feeling of defeat. This is not the time to push forward on our dreams or desires, but to deal with the practicalities of our daily lives by staying in the present moment. Although we must stay on the ball and not give up, but let's just keep it simple. On Christmas Day, there will be a T-square with our moon in opposition to the goddess of the sacred fire, Vesta, and both are in square to Venus and the goddess of harvest and nurture, Ceres. So this is an emphasis, or this actually emphasizes the need for us to connect with our heart chakras and express our feelings in a balanced way. This T-square's energy is powerfully feminine and asks us to connect with our divine feminine energy within for the sake of our health and well-being. And we can do this by once again raising our vibration through prayer and meditation before we start our day. Actually, right into New Year's Day, it will be important to keep up the pace of directing our energies wisely and using moderation in all things. So not going over the top with meditation or going over the top with our routines. We must bring the two into balance and love ourselves and others unconditionally by accepting that things are as they should be. I definitely feel that this month of December is about nurturing our inner child and remembering how we connected or how we were connected to the magical realms through our imagination and air of innocence as a child, trusting in life from moment to moment without fear of the future and living in the present moment. So it's really about staying in the present moment and holding that balance. So for the rest of December into the new year, I suggest that we meditate on our heart chakras and surround ourselves with the colours pink and light or bright green for emotional healing and to activate the heart chakra. Burn blue candles and lavender incense for spiritual enlightenment and calming. Take a walk in nature, especially around greenery, and if you live by the coast, the sea air will be very cleansing and purifying. If you don't live near the coast, take a sea salt bath and add a calming essential essence of your choice. It is so important that we stay in a place of love and gratitude for all of the wisdom, the realizations and the emotional release that this year has brought to us. And I have set an affirmation this podcast. I haven't been doing those for a while. So the affirmation I've set is, I'm thankful for all the divine lessons I have learned on my journey and embrace my sovereignty with the power of divine love. So I hope that's been helpful to you all. And once again, I'm sending you all peace and much love.